Hey, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, go to Twitter, Gresh Fourier, WEEI. You can get Christian on Twitter at Christian Fourier. Get me at The Real Gresh. Go, please, check out the video I tweeted out during the game yesterday. It was 3:04 Eastern time. Others have picked up on it and tried to claim it that they were on it, but they were at the stadium, so they wouldn't have been able to see it. So I don't know how they would have, but me watching at home, you could see something that Jonathon Kraft says while almost waving off his dad in a conversation while the people at Fox were giving a tongue bath to the CEO of the company who was sitting in the Kraft suites. And it just happened to show Jonathon Kraft saying something about not being good enough. Go check out that video because we're going to talk about it a little bit later, and you're watching it on Twitch right there where you just see Jonathon kind of throw the hand up and wave away, and then he looks down at his phone and says we're not good enough.
Well, they're both looking at the phone at the same time, too, by the way. It's almost like they're both looking at the same thing, like they both got the same text.
Somebody sent something, yeah. And then Jonathon puts his head down and says, we're not good enough. So what is the emotions today, Patriot fans? At 617-779-7937. We start with Brian in Boston. First up today with Gresh and Fourier. Hello, Brian.
Hi, guys. I guess I was one of the few people who still naively thought if they had won yesterday, they could still go on a run. But so my emotion is it's now officially over for this season. But my question is, I guess I want to ask Christian, the first drive of the game, the defense had just got a 3-and-out, if you recall, and they're driving down, I believe it was like a 4th and
Okay. Oh, and we
back.
We lost him. I think what he was about to ask about, and I'm trying to pull up the game book right now. I do believe he was going down the road of the 4th and 3 and the throw to Tyquan Thornton.
Okay.
I think I'm just 3-and-out, and then
in that first series of the Patriots on offense, they were actually short passes. Third down conversion.
Converted a 3rd and 9,
ball.
3rd and 3.
They get stuck at a 4th and 3, and they have the right call. They had the right opportunity, right? Because it's a deep pass. And why would you be throwing that? He's wide ass open.
Yep.
You got to hit it.
You got to make the throw.
You can't miss that throw.
Nope.
I would say the angle is fine. The pass was horrible. So he overthrew him.
Plain and simple.
Those guys don't ever work together. They're off there. You could tell that Tyquan Thornton was part of the game plan, and then he suddenly was not.
Why?
I can tell you why.
Why is that?
Okay, if you look at the throws that they were, I would say the out route. He's a horrible route runner.
Oh, by the way, did you have the video on that? I can't remember if you tweeted a video on that or if you reacted. There you go.
I react because I said they're all
because I saw that route. It's just an out-breaking route, and
he can't run it.
His footwork was awful.
You don't want to know why? I can tell you why.
Why is that?
Okay, tell me if you agree with this, and then we'll get into
why.
I think long, tall, lean, sprinter-type body guys who play football.
Okay.
There's a certain body type, and I don't think those guys, those striders, those thin, narrow guys that get to top speed, I want you to get to top speed in 15 yards. They can't slow down. They're striders. The guys that can do it are some of the best in the world. Jerry Rice, strider, fast. Randy Moss, fast, long strides, can get by you in a hurry, but can also break down. He doesn't have that skill set. So when he tries to do it, it's so obvious that he's stopping. So it's so easy for a defensive back to check him, to grab him, to get in his way. He can't get out of the break. He can't.
And for comparison, Tyquan Thornton listed at 6'2", DeAndre Hopkins listed at 6'1", and I think you nailed it. Track guy, long strider, all that stuff. DeAndre Hopkins, maybe some of that, but football player.
But yeah, they know, and I would say that's an art. I'm sorry, that is an art. I would say until he finds or figures out how to run those routes in order for him to get open, and as soon as Mac identifies his nonverbal route running cues, because that's really what it is. Hey, Mac, I can't. Listen, for me, I'll use myself as an example. I can't get to top speed and break out of my route. I would say use Wiggy as an example. Wiggy never ran a route at full speed and was able to pump the brakes
He
and then get
makes
out of
a
it.
joke about I got open with my wiggle.
It's it. It's
not
all
speed. Yeah,
it's all
it's
nonverbal,
nuance.
and it worked for him. I had to determine my own way of doing it, just like all these other guys. He can't do that route, so they are throwing it to him. Even the slant route drops it. Well, it was a bad throw. He can't get open.
I was able to make guys miss and get open with my wiggle.
So my thing is like he's not. So they stopped throwing. He stopped playing. I think he ran a total of 10 routes. If you really break it down, if you break down the actual route running opportunities, I thought I had it here.
Yeah, you know what? You look that up because I want to see how many plays he ended up playing on offense. Because now, oh my God, I didn't realize this. Tyquan Thornton, you know how many plays he actually played on offense?
15.
12.
Yeah, I was close.
12.
They stopped, and
They basically froze him out.
Yeah.
And it was Douglas and Rager. Jalen Rager got 49 snaps. Again, I am not Mr. Wide Receiver, but I'm not going to sit here and try to sell you that failed first-round picks from an organization that is pretty good at normally taking wide receivers, or at least they're okay in them. I mean, you know, they did take Devontae Smith, and they also went traded for A.J. Brown. So maybe they're not the most perfect team in drafting wide receivers, but holy cow. I mean, again, at least Devontae Parker's had a 9-year career and done something. Jalen Rager is bust city, for God's sakes. We're now to the point of realizing that the DeAndre Hopkins signing was necessary. They didn't need a million guys. They needed one guy who would be able to, as you said, run an out route, make the slant route the way it should be, that kind of stuff. And that's not, and we talked about it at the time. It was only a couple $1 million difference. And I bought into, you got Juju, you got Gesicki. The plan was almost right. You needed the one guy out there who could end up making the difference or maybe pull coverage a little bit or whatever, because Gesicki without a guy doesn't fit.
Gesicki is for me, he's useless.
I mean,
I've told you this at the beginning of the season.
You called it
I told
at the
you
beginning of the year.
This is why the Dolphins didn't throw the ball.
Right.
He does one thing and only one thing, and he's not even great at that. So he can't get open like Gronk. He can't get open like Hunter Henry. He's a gimmick guy, and even Bill said it. They use him as a fifth receiver. He's a receiver, tall, lanky, slow, get the ball high, red zone, sure, but you're not down there enough. I went back and looked at it, and here's what I wrote down the problems were. Okay, and I didn't even give detail. Because it should be self-explanatory. Kicking game, zero pressure, rush discipline, terrible tackling, busted coverages, penalties, missed throws, drop balls, and then another sign, like you got 2 turnovers and you still lost. The second time you got 2 turnovers, you had the same thing with Miami. You would think you would, if you get, I always thought 2 turnovers is their magic number. You get 2 turnovers, only the worst of the worst get 2 turnovers and still lose.
And
That's
it's normally because you give the turnovers back.
And I would even say you had a turnover on downs because you went for it on 4th down, and they ended up getting a field goal in that first drive, right? You went for it on 4th and 3, you didn't get it. They get the ball back, good field position, they go down and they get points. So, I mean, that to me is like we can get into the weeds of every single one, but there's so many problems.
But there was a lot of defense on there, whereas early in the year in the first 2 games, we all thought, and sorry, even for the most negative Patriot fan, we all thought defensively, oh, wow, they're going to be pretty good. This can be a top 10 defense. And then Judon and Gonzalez goes down, and this thing has fallen apart. The pass rush has been inconsistent, and the back end of the secondary is a mess for, I think, a myriad of reasons that we might have to tomorrow try to sort of unpack a little bit and figure out what's going on the back end.
Those guys are only getting more disgruntled and more irritated and more emboldened, I would say. So what you used to do is like you determine what you tolerate from the very beginning. We as an organization, we as our leaders of the team, and then all your subjects, all your role players. We don't tolerate this. That has been now the whole post-game crankiness. It's all acceptable. It is tolerated now. You know, sitting on the bench with your towel over your head because you're sulking and you're mad and you're upset because you feel like Bill's doing you dirty. That's accepted now. What are you going to do? Go yell at them and scream at them and tell them to act like a professional? They don't give a crap. They care less. And that's the problem. What you're willing to tolerate and how many times are you going to punish this guy? So if you keep punishing him, you're dealt with the secondary that you have.
Well, that's a part of the reason why there are people saying today, and I heard WEEI talking about this a little bit, because there was some question on the morning show as to, why are you sitting down J.C. Jackson or Jack Jones? And I thought WEEI made a good point, which was but the standard has to be the standard. And that's why Bill is trying to, he can't let it slide, because everybody else on the roster would then know, oh, those guys are getting treated differently, or they're getting away with something that they shouldn't, or whatever. There's a big difference between giving a preferred parking spot to a quarterback that works his ass off versus playing time to someone who's going to be insubordinate or breaking rules and things like that.
Yeah, so I just wrote this down. I thought it was interesting because Bill, being the guy that he is, he has the courage of his convictions. He has done things a certain way, and I don't care.
That's right.
I am not going to. But the courage of his convictions are going to get his ass fired. They're going to get him fired, and I think that's a real not a threat. I think it's more of a reality, because I can deal with. Listen, you screwed up the roster, and it's finally coming to bite you in the ass. But what I can't do, what I think will get him fired, not during the middle of the season, because I think that is outrageously just propaganda. I don't think it's going to happen. Is when you have the players posting stuff when they're in their car driving home after a 1 o'clock game, starting fights, embarrassing the organization, right? Just making a fool of everybody.
Well, look at Schooler on the sidelines, even.
Yeah,
you're a special teamer. Granted, they matter around here, but good grief. A captain should not be pulling you off the field because you're going to go out there and squawk about a call. 617-779-7937. Rick is in Scituate. Next with Gresh and Fourier. Hello, Rick.
Hi, guys. Hey, I just wanted to do a couple of things. My position on the Patriots, the other observation of yesterday's game. My feeling on the Patriots is I still love the team. I mean, they're having hard times. I think the biggest problem is the offensive line. Play yesterday, I watched it this morning again in slow motion, that last play of the game, the interception. And you had the left guard and the left tackle and Stevenson trying to block one player coming from that side, and they couldn't do it. They were right on top. He was right on top of Mac. And Juju was actually coming back like he should have, back like towards the first down marker. He would have had the first down, but instead Jones was rushed and he threw it off. That's why he had to dive for the ball. I don't know what your thoughts are, Ron.
Yeah, Rick, thank you. I didn't see that at all. I thought that it's late in the game. The pocket's going to be tight. And I know some people in the Twitch chat didn't like it when I said it earlier, but that was a money throw by Mac Jones. How about this? For those who think that I'm a Mac honk, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, two-time Super Bowl champion, part of the oldest connection in NFL history, a man who's caught multiple balls in the NFL, Christian Fourier. How would you evaluate that throw to Juju over the middle late in the game?
I would say great throw, catchable pass. I don't know what else you want me to.
Yeah, it's really Juju didn't make the catch.
Yeah, that's
but that's
Don't
why I wanted
dissect
to.
it.
No,
Yeah.
it didn't need to. You're right. It didn't need to. How about? And by the way, they went back and they showed the replay from behind, and Mac read it right away. He knew exactly where he was going with the ball. Juju got open, and the other thing too is you got to think of let's try to get into the mind of the quarterback, right? You know you don't have a timeout. You know you have a rookie kicker. If you get an incompletion, you don't want the ball to move from the middle of the field, right? But you're trying to advance it further in the middle of the field to make it an easier kick because you're going away from the lighthouse in that instance. So there is also in the mind of the quarterback let's make the connection. We know we got to get up. We'll have to clock it after this. You're trying to keep the ball in the middle of the field. He's trying to manage so much more, but the bottom line is he made the big-time throw. And Jonathan Vilma is an idiot. I could not believe, Fourier, what I heard from Vilma, because here's what happened. And you and I have both been color analysts, right? He screwed up the original call, is what happened. If you go back and listen to that, his reaction was wrong. And then when they went into the replay, and he's like, well, Mac Jones didn't have to do it. And you hear him stop. You know why? Because he's a middle linebacker who sees an 8-year veteran in Juju, or whatever he is, across the middle, and the ball goes right through his hands like it was a greased-up Thanksgiving turkey. And then that
said, don't force the issue, Mac Jones. You only needed about 10 yards. There was no need for this football into this traffic. He had been doing well the whole drive. Right off the hands of Juju Smith-Schuster. That's such a hard catch for the receiver. You don't need to make that throw.
I'm not even going to respond. I'm not going to respond.
Well, because
look, because it's such a hard. That's not an over-the-shoulder catch that's thrown wide and outside.
Hunter Henry made a tougher catch on the touchdown than what Juju would have in the middle of the field.
Juju Smith was making great catches on that drive.
Yeah.
Since when are we going to say, like, how are you putting that on the quarterback? It is like that is a ball that he should catch. The fact that we're actually debating this is another sign of how unbelievably pathetic we are.
Mm-hmm.
That's a catch. That is it. There's no debate about it. That ball needs to be caught. It has to be caught. The Rieger pass has to be caught. This isn't something we're going to listen. Greg asked him about this earlier this morning when he was on. There's so many things in that interview that I think are obvious signs of where I think Bill is at now based on that 12-minute interview that they did this morning, and they all did a great job with it. So kudos to all of them because they asked all the right questions.
Are you giving Chris Curtis a compliment?
I am. Not even backhandedly.
Were you drinking last night?
No. I did have early morning treatment, so there may be some endorphins coming through my
veins. Where did this come from?
It wasn't. Curtis didn't even throw the whole zinger in there either. He usually is waiting for this one, like, I got you moment. He didn't do it. It was just all these questions are things that have to be asked. And it's not like even like, oh, my God, I can't believe they asked it. And I listened to it, and I went back and listened to it again. I'm like, wow. And I'll save it for when we actually do it. But back to the catch. Why are we debating whether or not because Vilma said he should throw it in traffic like an idiot?
There's that. Because some people will just parrot what the color analyst says, but also that's the referendum on Mac. Was it his fault? Was it not his fault? How many interceptions has he thrown where the ball hit the guy in the hands this year? Right? But those are all Mac's fault.
See, I could even.
According to, sorry, I'm not going to be hyperbolous. Yeah. According to some, those are all Mac's fault.
Well, I need to break that down, too, because I have a theory on him as well, and I don't even believe I'm going to say it.
Oh, boy. 617-779-7937. Lines are loaded. The Twitch chat is jumping. Twitch.tv/Boston WEEI. Hey, just go to YouTube. Type in WEEI in the search bar. Pops right up on YouTube. You can watch us there.